Hey guys, this is the newest Fusion system, the Generation 3. So we released the Generation 2 at the beginning of this year in 2026, but we have decided we're going to release it with a color screen and also an easier system to install. So while the original system was very easy to install, the Fusion Generation 3 is even easier again. So I'll quickly run through the features, and this video is also going to show you how to install it. It's a rough video, as in the wiring I'm just showing you loosely, alright? So nothing is neat, it's just a visual for that. The main features of the Fusion Generation 3 is the color screen, as I mentioned before. This is a new thing. We had the black and white before. This is also a slightly bigger screen than the old screen. You still have the 50 amp Anderson plugs, two of those. They are individually fused at 50 amps each. You got the two cigarette ports, the standard old 12 volt sockets. You have this bad boy here. It has the 3 Type-C USB and one standard QC3 USB. That is a difference. The old one used to have 2 of them and 2 USBs, but now everyone's using the Type-C, so we've increased that. It also has the light switch here, which is connected inside. You can hook up canopy light to that, as long as it's up to 10 amps. Under 10 amps, sorry. Okay, now this is the 2000 watt inverter that it has always featured. These are a very good system. So now I'll just pan around to the back and I'll show you the installation of this. Now, connecting to your house battery, this is what is way different about the Fusion and makes it really easy. So now you have the terminals on the outside. The old system had the terminals internal. Now you run your positive lead here. This is your main charging cable. This is also for your whole system itself, minus the inverter. The inverter cables are down here. You got the positive and negative. These will be your main terminals for adding things. You can add Anderson plugs like this for a fridge. You would power it from this point. You would unbolt this and put this one on top, positive and negative like that, and then you have a fridge Anderson plug that you could mount directly behind the fridge. So connecting up your house battery for your inverter, as well as your main charging cables up here, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration. This is a mess at the moment, but I'm just sort of got it here rough to show you how it's going to be done. You will neaten this up and make this way nicer than what I've got here. This is a 5-minute setup. So essentially your 2 cables, positive and negative, are running down. So this is your main charge cables. And you'll notice here we have something called a shunt. The shunt is what is attached to your screen. This reads every amp coming in and out of your battery and then transmits that data to that screen that you saw on the front. The only cable that should ever be connected to your house battery is this one single cable here. If you bypass the shunt with any cable, say you want to put one of these down here, this will never read the amps coming in and out of the battery, and all of a sudden your system is incorrect. You will not get an accurate reading on your battery monitor, which is why now you use these terminals up here as your new battery terminals. So for your negative cables, both your inverter and your main charge cable, this is your charge cable, this is your inverter cable, they will run to the shunt down like this, and they will be the only 2 things connected to your shunt. Alright, this here is the battery monitor, the white plug for the battery monitor. So you use this cable here that comes out of the unit, and you'll plug it in there. Again, make everything neat when you're at that stage. And then you have this is your power cable for the shunt that runs to the positive on your battery. So now we'll go on the positive cables from the unit to the house battery. The main charge cable, this big bad boy here, and then this one here, which is the positive for the inverter. So what you're going to do is you're going to run all the way to the positive terminal on the battery for the big charge cable. It's going to be connected up to this shunt cable that I showed just before. Now you're going to see something here that looks a bit strange. Some people may be aware of it, others may not. This is what I would recommend for an inverter fuse. This is an MRBF terminal block fuse. This particular model is Blue Sea, and I only recommend Blue Sea inverter fuse. MRBF fuses for the inverter. Essentially how it works is it sends the current through a, I'll just get one here. Essentially this is the system right here. This terminal is connected to the battery just like that, with all your other positives on top as a normal terminal. And then what it does is it sends the power up through here, through this plate. And if you notice, there is insulation right there that stops this terminal from making contact with this plate. When this fuse is on there, the fuse itself will be energized, will allow the energizing to this terminal. And so that there is your actual fuse. This is the fuse holder, this thing here. When the fuse blows, there will be no connection anymore. These are the type of fuses I recommend for an inverter. It's just really easy, as you can see how simple it is to connect. It's right on the battery. If this blows here, then this cable will have no power whatsoever. So essentially the system is very easy to install, as you can see. 2 cables to the battery, two cables, one going to the shunt on the charge cable, the inverter, again the negative going up to the shunt, one single cable to the battery, and then on the inverter side, positive up through here to the MRBF terminal fuse, and then you have the normal charge cable positive all the way to there with the little shunt power cable. That is the shunt. I should probably alliterate on that. That little cable there is the power for the shunt, which is then transferred up to the screen, and that is your screen's connection. So when it comes to like fuses and things like that, they are inside the system right here. So when you mount this to your canopy, make sure if you put a fridge beside this, you have the ability to remove your fridge so you can access this area of the unit. There's 3 screws here like this. You unscrew those, and then you've got complete access to the fuses inside. The fuses inside will be for the Anderson plug, for the main power cable, and also for these sockets on the front as well. So now I've removed the cover so you can see what you're dealing with. The thing is, I'll mention quickly where you hook that light to. This here is the positive and negative for a canopy light. It's fused at 10 amps, so you need to make sure it's under 10 amps, whatever you're connected to. So you just put a male positive and negative blade into that, and then you can turn on and off from here. Now, fuses for everything are up in this section right here. So these are your blade fuses for the front panels, and then these ones here, these are for your Anderson plugs. So that's fuse 1, fuse 2 for your Anderson plug, and then they're fused at 50 amps, and they are MIDI fuses, so they can be bought anywhere. And then these ones here, this is for your main charging cable for your DC-DC charger. This is what's coming out to your house battery. So these here use an 80 amp mega fuse. So you know, it might be worth carrying a spare mega fuse around. Just grab an 80 amp and just in case you blow this one. If you lose power to your system from the house battery, then this guy here is probably the one that's gone. So you'll notice these lights here, they will be lit up and they're flashing and doing a bunch of random things. There is the manual for this charger in there, so if you're wondering what each thing does, but you can use that. But this charger is a smart charger, and it does have a Bluetooth device, which is down here at the front, tucked away. You'll see it right there. Yeah, that's the Bluetooth dongle for this charger. So to find out more information about what these lights are doing, the best thing you probably can do is jump on the app. So you get on the Renogy DC Home app, you download that, and then look for this unit. The things you can do with that are checking what the solar is doing. You can see what voltage is coming in and what voltages are coming out. You can see what your alternator's doing, you know, what voltages are in and what voltages are out, amps and coming in and out, all that sort of thing. So this is, you know, you won't be using the DC-DC charger on the app like all the time, but it's really good for fault finding. If you're finding that something doesn't seem right, you can tell if it's registering that or not. If you start not registering things, then you probably more than likely have a connection issue. You know, like something has become loose and in the system. You know, a connection to the start battery or a connection to solar, things like that. And that really gives you a good idea if you're noticing that 0 volts is registering from your alternator, but the car is running, and you know for certain that that's not correct. Then you know that there's probably an issue with an earth or a connection at the starter battery or somewhere between the starter battery and up to the unit itself. So use the app. That is a good way of checking, especially when you're first starting. When you're running the vehicle, you want the charger to be taking charge from your start battery until you turn the ignition off and the car stops running, and the voltage does not drop below 12.6, 12.5 volts. So that is when this charger will stop taking power from your start battery, because that is a fully charged start battery. Now, the other thing about this charger is, if your house battery is completely full and it's 100%, this thing will back charge your start battery from the solar. So the solar coming in isn't being wasted, it will be then redirected to your start battery. So not only will this take energy from your start battery, you know, to charge your house battery, when your house battery is completely full, it will do the reverse and keep your start battery completely charged. So you won't have a system where you're going to be running out of power or this draining it. You can run the app to make sure that it's stopping when it's supposed to and it's back charging when it's supposed to. You can monitor all that via the app. Anyway, I hope that helps. And yeah, I hope you like the ease of installation for the Series 3 Fusion and the new color screen.